Every day we wake up to news of environmental catastrophe. Wildfires raging in California, the Amazon, Australia, polar ice caps and glaciers melting, 1 million species on the brink of extinction, oceans warming, soils disappearing, pollution, droughts, catastrophic floods, crops failing, populations fleeing, climate change. It's not surprising we're suffering from eco-anxiety. The situation can feel doomed and hopeless and overwhelming. But like all fears, the solution is to face it head on. Only when we begin to understand what is actually happening can we embrace the thought of change. And only when we learn from people who are already providing solutions to the crisis, who are beginning to implement change, can we have a sense of how to turn around the Titanic, that it's even possible. Hope is something my husband and I have learnt since we embarked on our rewilding project in West Sussex. In less than 20 years, we've watched wildlife pouring back into our land, including some of the rarest species in Britain, drawn like a magnet to rebounding natural resources. What has astonished us most is how nature itself provides solutions. Our depleted soil has restored itself and now acts like a filter, purifying runoff from polluted land around us. Vegetation cleans the air. The land holds on to heavy rains, preventing flooding downstream, and draws down carbon from the atmosphere. How quickly this has all happened has taken us completely by surprise. The great American E.O. Wilson, in his recent book Half Earth, says that if we're to safeguard the systems on which all life, including our own, depends, we must devote half the Earth's surface to nature. The evidence is encouraging. Nature is forgiving. It will bounce back if we let it. The writers I've included in this issue all have a deep understanding of how nature works. Some are scientists, mammalogists, marine biologists, lichenologists, experts in their field. Others are environmental journalists exploring the latest thinking about ecosystems and how to repair them. And some are farmers who have experienced an epiphany, just like we did, who are learning to work with nature rather than battling against it all the time. Sometimes the hardest thing of all is to admit that we've been doing the wrong thing all along. Of course, many societies in the world have lived in harmony with nature for millennia, and it's indigenous voices above all that can teach us about sustainability and the fundamental importance of forging a closer, more respectful relationship with nature. The knowledge is already out there, we just have to listen. I'm thrilled to be bringing a broad range of insights from around the world together for this issue. Never has there been a greater need for writers who can communicate about the environment in a clear, immediate and powerful way. And never, thankfully, has there been greater public interest in learning about nature and what we can do to restore it. The stories in this issue do not give grounds for complacency, in many cases far from it, but they will, I hope, be both enlightening and empowering, and transform the way we look at nature around the planet, as well as what we can do in our own backyard.